Hello, hello. Oh, that's my charming clock. How is everyone today? Well, I hope. Thank you for joining me and welcome to this very special edition of Come Hither with Heather. Today we are all about an amazing person called Scratchin Pete. And this is going to be a shout out live stream to him. I'm excited to be doing this. I am actually a little bit tired because it is 4:30 in the morning, Australian Central Time. Hello, Jaden. How are you? Welcome. Thank you for coming. And I have got all my coffees lined up in a row in a bid to help me wake up. I got up at 3:30 this morning to put my lippy on and wash my hair. I thought I'd better wash it for this special occasion. Oh, who else do we have? No one yet. That's okay. That's fine. Dee, how are you? I hope you're well. It's very early in the morning for you as well. Hello, Pouts, Perfume and Panning. Nice to have you here. Welcome and thank you for coming. I have a wonderful guest coming up shortly, and I'm excited. I can't even talk. Now I know what 4:30 in the morning feels like. Hello, Anna B. Hello, Facing Reality. Hello, Kiss My Scratch. How are you? Welcome and thank you for joining us. This is very exciting. Hello, Horror Collectors Fiend. Nice to see you. Yes, it'll be interesting to see how many Australians turn up at this time of the morning. I'm very doubtful they will, but you never know, they may watch the replay. Hello, Verns, Junk Closet. Oh, hello. Actually, Aubrey, nice to see you. Welcome, and thank you for joining us. Okay, I'm going to start by letting you know this is all about Scratchin Pete, helping Scratchin Pete to get his watch hours up. You are going to see links coming through the chat with links to the channel, links to the I can't think, playlist. That's the word I'm looking for. Hello, Scratchin Pete. Welcome. Popping up into the chat every so often. I hope I've done it often enough. But yes, it's lovely to have you all here. Oh, that's okay, Pete. Look, I don't know if I'm going to be able to read the comments properly. I might have to take my glasses off for this. That's okay, Pete. It's actually a pleasure to do this for you. Oh, hello, the Impaired Empowered Mama. Thank you for coming and welcome. Okay, so I'm actually going to tell you a story of my, I guess, first interaction of having met Pete and Scratchin Pete P.A. channel. I started on Tuber Chat a little bit, just over a year ago now. I actually spent a lot of weeks just popping in and out, watching to see what happens. I've never been on a growth stream before. So it was all new to me and all very confusing. And like anyone, you know, you'd look to the moderators to see what they're doing and how they set the tone of the chat. Obviously, the host sets the tone of the chat, but the moderators help to keep that tone going. So I think Scratchin Pete was one of the first channels I connected with. And my very special guest is here. Oh, I'm so excited. I'll finish this story after. I'm going to go back and redo my intro. And when the intro finishes, our guest will be on screen. Give me a moment and we'll do this.
Hello, thank you for having me on here.
Oh, thank you for accepting the invitation. I really appreciate it. Very much so. It is a pleasure to have you here. So, was
Welcome,
that
everyone.
expecting the Tuba chat?
We got I'm because I was on right before we started here. I missed the story that you said you were telling right before you put the intro on.
Yeah. Well, I was actually talking about my first interactions with Scratchin Pete.
Yes.
Um, Now, because I've been on Tuba chat for just over a year, and I think the first month or few weeks or so, I'd pop in and out, not very regularly, but when I had the chance, pop in and out and watch what's happening. And like most people, you look to the moderators to see how the tone's set. And I think Scratch and Pete, Juba Chat was very confusing for me. And it took me a while to get used to. It's the first growth channel that I actually been on. I didn't even know there was such things as a growth channel. And so I went on to Scratching Pete's channel and I thought, oh my God, this is just about scratching lotto tickets. I couldn't think of anything more boring. But I stayed connected. I think it was a couple of months, and I thought I opened my mind. I opened my mind to something new. So many people would say some wonderful things about Scratch and Pete, and I thought, well, let's see what Scratch and Pete's all about.
Hmm.
So I watched my first video without distraction, and I was really, really amazed about how much I enjoyed it. I didn't think I would enjoy it all, but I did.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I really did. Everything was just so tight. Everything was well done, very professional. So
Yes.
the second I actually started to binge watch after that. And like the second one was just like the same, and you knew what was coming. You had your sections of videos, and yeah, it was just so well done. I was very impressed. So yeah, so I haven't missed a single Scratch and Pete scratch off.
Yeah, and there's what, 70 something episodes of it now, right? If I remember right. Yeah.
Something like that. Yes. So, and I watch Scratch and Pete, and I think Scratch and Pete. Can I just call you Pete? Um, I've watched Pete in the chat, and I don't think Pete's ever really, to my knowledge, has ever actually asked for anything of himself. He's always
No, he
got.
no. I've known Pete for well over a year and a half now, and forgive me for not being 100% sure of exactly how long it is because it's between that 2 year mark and a year and a half. But he was there very early in the Tuber Chat days, right, and has never missed a stream except for one day he had his internet cut off and still let us know, right, that he wouldn't be there. But to my knowledge, I don't remember Scratchin Pete P.A. asking for anything. Now, not that that matters. I don't think there's anything wrong with people asking for help, or especially, what I want to tell people is when you're gonna display generosity and do things for others, still stand up for yourself and still accept the help that you do need or that you would like or that they do offer. You know what I mean? But it is just a wonderful thing to see so many generous people that I've met over the last couple of years, especially where Scratch and PPA definitely is a shining jewel in the Tuber Chat family and is in a league of his own when it comes to the idea of giving much more than he expects to receive. We all see that in him as well. So actually what I should do is probably segue then and ask you, Heather, what exactly was the reason why we're doing this live stream right now? What's the goal behind why we're all here supporting this live stream?
The goal for this live stream is to get Scratch and Pete's watch hours for him. Help him get his watch hours. I'm hoping that there'll be Tuber Chat people who may not have swapped playlists. There'll be people from Australia who will see this on the reruns, certainly not at 4:30 in the morning.
Yes, it's an odd time for you.
And I got up at 3:30 to put my lippy on, and
Now,
it's
there you
already finished. and I've got my coffees behind the screen all lined up. And that's pretty much it. It is to help people get monetized, literally.
So I can tell everybody, if you'd like, how exactly that will probably the fastest way to get that done right now. Now, Scratchin Pete P.A does a lot of playlist swapping with other creators and does an unbelievable amount of supporting. We all know this by now, anybody who's met him already, but we speak so highly of this creator for anybody that hasn't already met Scratchin Pete P.A, because he shows an exceptional amount of generosity every single day. Everywhere that we run into him in the YouTube streets, if you want to call it that. Now, on his channel, in his playlists, if you go to Scratchin Pete P.A.'s channel and you go into the playlists, you will find a playlist called All Scratchin Pete, and it literally has everything he's done. I've timed it out to be somewhere between 14 and 16 hours. I could be mistaken, but somewhere around there. There's about 70 videos in there, but they all average out just barely over 10 minutes each. And by running that playlist of videos, you're actually doing a few things for him. The number one goal that Heather was after today, which is supporting this creator and making sure that they rack up some hours, but you're actually giving an extra big benefit, because when somebody runs a playlist of videos, they're running every single video in that playlist from beginning to end. And that can bump up the averages on a person's channel for average time viewed per video, if that makes sense, or at least average percentage, right? So Scratchin Pete P.A does extremely well with engagement, but because the videos are only 10 minutes long, he's crossed the 1,100 subscriber mark now, but needs to just work on some of those hours. Now, the reason why I'm guessing that Heather picked out this specific creator is because of the generosity that we see. You don't have to follow too many people in any of our communities to run into Scratchin Pete and a lot of people who are going to say wonderful things about this creator. That's why as soon as Heather said that they wanted to do a special live stream for this purpose, of course I wanted to hop in right away, and I do appreciate the thought. So thank you for having me here as well.
No, thank you. In actual fact, I do have people who don't know you, Kevin. So would you like to talk about yourself?
Yes, thank you. So this is one of the reasons why collaborating with other creators can be such a great benefit, because you expand your audience. So for those of you who haven't met me before, thank you so much. My name is Kevin K, but I'm the host of a channel called Tuber Chat. And what we do there is we meet each other as creators with the purpose of supporting each other over the long term. While we're in our live streams, I put channels on the screen. I talk about the content. I talk about the creators. They usually last about 2 to 2.5 hours, 4 times a week. We always run on the same days of the week, but I move the streams around so that we can meet different creators in different time zones. But the idea is that you will meet more friends and family members over there. As a matter of fact, as a separate plug, we had Vern's Junk Closet, who's in the chat here now, who's a dear friend of mine, on with me for a very special edition of that Tuber Chat live stream just moments ago. And it was the generosity that I saw in Vern's Junk Closet and many other creators like Scratchin Pete P.A at the time, who inspired the idea behind Tuber Chat, which is just called a growth stream. That's what we call those things. You go in there to meet other creators, grow your channels. But the idea, of course, is to support each other over the long term. And you can see the kind of things that come out of that when generous people are drawn to each other and then want to do for each other, right? And I believe that I saw this before we started. There's enough generous people like Heather out there, like Scratchin Pete P.A, like Vern's Junk Closet out there. And if we could all just find each other boy, could we ever make this YouTube thing explode, right? And that's what we're watching for a lot of creators now. So thank you for doing this. I can speak for the whole Tuber Chat family by saying thank you for doing this for Scratchin Pete P.A, because he is so unbelievably respected and well loved in our family and community. I couldn't begin to tell everybody how many things he has done for me personally. Tuber Chat only runs as well as it does because Scratchin Pete P.A is able to be there truly as a friend and as a dedicated participant in our moderator squad, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. And we do have some amazing people in the Tuber Chat world. And I have to admit that my small community are amazing as well. I mean, I do have now 550 or something like that.
Wonderful, yes.
And they're just absolutely amazingly supportive. And I know that if I ask them to do this little favour for me, that most of them a lot of them will, within their capabilities, of course. I wouldn't expect anything to do anything they're not sort of happy to do or can't do, but yeah. And you can actually learn a lot from Scratchin Pete. I learned a lot.
Well, I can let you know right away. As soon as people saw Scratchin Pete P.A come out with his video series, right from video number one, the editing skills were way beyond anything anybody would have been expecting, I'm sure, right? And he had, my assumption is that he had really thought about what he was going to do, contemplated, planned, designed before he started his video series, because you can see nothing but like over the top editing all the way along. Way more effort than most people want to put into a 10-minute video, you know, and some of them used to be 15 minutes or a little bit longer, but for the bulk of them in the last year are just an average of just over 10 minutes. But it just results in an unbelievably fast-paced and high-energy live chat that goes along with the premieres that he runs every Tuesday as well. So consistency, I don't know if I've met a creator that's more perfectly consistent than Scratchin Pete P.A. The videos come out at the same time every week without fail.
Yeah.
I'm going to grab a link for his. Oh, do you have me moderated? I can't see.
I'm not sure, but I do have Nightbot posting his link every so often.
Oh, you are doing it. Okay, perfect. Yes. Forgive me for not seeing.
No, that's okay. That's fine. I actually wasn't sure if Nightbot was going to kick in because I didn't see it for such a long time. But it's there. It's there.
Excellent.
Not able to. What was I going to say? I can't remember. Obviously, wasn't that important.
I make notes with pen and paper, and then I don't look at them after as well.
I was going to make notes. I thought, no, I'll just wing it. Yeah. I mean, who reads at 5 o'clock in the morning? Seriously, I can barely get my coffee.
Well, the other thing too is like it's great that you did this after we have, like I said, a special edition of Tuber Chat, right? So it can, you know, we can jump right in to another high energy idea, if you want to put it that way. You know, we're so happy and proud of like what Tuber Chat has been able to do. But, you know, Scratchin Pete P.A, I can't say it enough, is a shining jewel in the Tuber Chat family. We all feel that way. And anybody who's spent any amount of time there knows that right away. Not that I want to play favorites. You know, we've got a lot of like wonderful creators here in the chat and in the Tuber Chat family. Our moderators all have longtime friendships with myself. There's a reason why they are moderators and were asked, you know, I mean, or approached about the idea of moderating in the first place. And they all do something different on their channel. But for today, you know, Heather asked me, do I want to come and would I join in the idea of doing this special live stream specifically for Scratchin Pete? So I know that I can speak for us all when we say yes, we absolutely want to see Scratchin Pete P.A monetized as quickly as possible. Let's just say, you know, we all want things faster than they ever come. We always want more than we have, but still, we just love to see it happen sooner than later, especially in his case, right? Michael's Adventures is not going to be too far behind. This is another creator who's way over the top when it comes to generosity for others. And I've seen a lot of creators, that have done a lot of generous things, but they also happen to be friends. They always speak highly of each other. And Michael's Adventures is one more creator in our moderator squad who will be looking towards monetization, hopefully within the next couple of months. He's crossed, I believe, the 950 mark right now.
That's amazing. And of course, if anybody wants to, contact each other and make throughout this chat, please feel free to reach out to each other and swap each other's playlists as well. But
wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah. It's always great to see more generosity. And this is what I'm talking about, when we can encourage others to connect and truly support each other so that everybody's channel will grow. Now, for those of you who've been in the Tuber Chat family for any period of time, you will have seen many times the generosity that comes from Come Hither with Heather and the engagement in the chat, truly making themselves a part not only of the Tuber Chat family, but YouTube as a social network, and Scratchin Pete P.A. has done an incredible job of this. He's somebody who engages the chat. He supports so many people, even when I'm rolling at high speed with 4 windows open, I still don't know how he's able to get around as much as he is. He seems to be everywhere all the time. So it's a wonderful thing that you're doing for Scratchin Pete P.A. for today. Again, so the link will be dropped, but there's a playlist on Scratchin Pete P.A.'s channel called All Scratchin Pete. He's got a couple playlists in there, but that would, it takes less than a 24-hour period to run, and it will be a wonderful addition to his watch hours to get those moving.
Yes. And I'm thinking, like, I can only imagine when Pete becomes monetized and has the what is it? The join
the memberships, yes.
Memberships. Could you imagine? I can only imagine what Peter would do with that. Without being monetized is just amazing. I couldn't even begin to think where Pete could go once he is monetized as well.
So I hope that people can take inspiration from this as well. And I talk about this on Tuber Chat all the time. But for the audience here on Come Hither with Heather, that's being introduced to me and us for the first time and this and that, then I hope we can all take inspiration from the idea that there are so many people. It's true excitement in us that is talking about the idea of Scratchin Pete P.A. getting monetized. Like, it's almost as much as for yourself. A lot of us have YouTube channels. Most of us want to be monetized, but it's wonderful when you see that generosity so genuine in people to truly be excited for each other, to hit milestones, to grow, to get monetized as a big milestone in a lot of YouTubers, career, journeys, if not careers and things like that. So it's an exciting time, and I'm hoping we can. I'm hoping everybody here who hasn't already will hop on that playlist and run that, because you can hammer out somewhere between 12, 14, 16 hours worth of watch hours for him all in one day. And it really does help. There's a lot more benefit to that, right? Not to mention, he's a creator a lot of people enjoy. Just to see the presentation on his channel, you can take inspiration from how he uses the outside social networks like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you don't mind, I'll carry on and say that in his video series, for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, that's the one thing we're not talking about. We're like, yeah, we'll go run his videos. But actually, when you see them, you'll find entertainment, because he gives everybody the opportunity to be a part of the video series by voting on the content of next week's video. If you follow him on Scratchin Pete on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and he's easy to find, right? He's made everything fairly uniform. The presentation on the channel has been professional from day one. The videos themselves have been over the top from day one, which is great to see. And he puts a lot of focus on other creators as well. There's giveaways on that channel. I think Hilda DC just won this past week, right?
Yes, I think so. I remember seeing her face somewhere.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm waiting for my name to come up, Scratchin Pete.
He uses the same Wheel of Doom that we see out there from Wheel of Names. Actually, I don't know if it's the same one. I don't know if it is, or how he cuts that into his videos. He uses a wheel so that it's completely random when he does the giveaway and you see it happen, which is really cool as well. It looks similar to what I use and a lot of other creators use. I call it the Wheel of Doom, but it's wheelofnames.com is something that does something similar. But Scratchin Pete P.A does a great job of incorporating that so there's fun and suspense in the video as well.
Yes, and you feel like you've got a sense of involvement. You feel like you've got a personal interest in seeing Scratchin Pete win. And
Yes.
I read some of the comments and it's like, yes, next week's going to be the big win. You know, next week.
Yeah.
It's nice to see you win a few weeks in a row. You know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you do feel a sense of involvement and personal
Absolutely, yes. And then he's from also Ontario, Canada, where I'm from. So, you know, his content hits home for me because I recognize all the scratch tickets that he's bringing out, right? A lot of my favorites. This week, when I went and voted, I just went against everybody knowing that they'd already voted. I said, I'm going to skew your results just so that it's not a 100% win. I think it was myself and one other person voted one way, and I voted against the ticket I usually would. But you can see what I'm talking about, even in the story I'm telling about how fun it can be to be involved in something. And then again, like I said, I hope everybody can take inspiration from what Scratchin Pete P.A is doing on his channel, because there are a lot of lessons that can be learned in what he's got going on there and has had from the start.
Yes, in actual fact, it was Scratchin Pete that really helped me to work out how best to use my social media as well. And I've been posting a lot more on Instagram. I've been doing a lot more stories and not Twitter so much, but you know, Facebook as well and TikTok.
Very good.
Getting inspiration from you and Pete as well.
Yeah.
So for those who have seen my live streams before, and I often talk about Tuber Chat, well, this is Mr. Chat right.
And thank you for that. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate you inviting me to be a part of this. You know, like if there's I really want to be able to stand behind you know, anybody, especially in the Tuber Chat family. But you know, we always want to encourage anybody starting channels, you know, so that we can make it easier for people coming in after than it was for us. Hopefully people can take lessons learned so that they can avoid some of the mistakes and therefore move faster. But I think that, like in the case of Scratchin Pete P.A, like I said, there's a lot of inspiration that could be taken from the professionalism and the presentation of the channel to the videos and the professionalism behind those. Not to mention, as soon as you get to know this creator and see them around a couple of times, you realize the generosity, because everywhere Scratchin Pete P.A goes, somebody's saying, Pete is awesome, Pete is wonderful, Pete is amazing. You know what I mean? And you can feel it even in the text conversations that go through different live chats.
Absolutely, absolutely. And he's so shy, so unassuming about it all.
Well, I think that speaks to the character of the idea of giving much more than, you know, expecting to receive. A very generous person in general. I've had the pleasure of getting to know Scratchin Pete P.A a little bit over the last year and a half or more. And, you know, it seems to me that this creator is somebody who is absolutely genuine when we talk and use the words that we use to describe them. You know, like generosity, for instance, like a very, very generous person, and brings that to YouTube every day.
Yeah.
I am Betty J. Gathers is asking a question. What more can we do to make it faster for people who are coming in after us? How to make things easier or quicker? What have you experienced? I want to hear what you have to say about maybe advice that you would give to somebody in the idea of helping others coming up with their YouTube channels.
Oh, what advice would I give people starting a channel? Very good question, actually.
Or coming up, you know, like the kind of things that you find to be effective in gaining support from other people, because that's what we all want, right?
Yeah, I think for me, what's worked for me is the heavy amounts of networking I've done. I think that helps a lot.
I can say for sure that I see Come Hither with Heather, not just in the Tuber Chat live streams, but everywhere that I run into them, they're constantly engaging conversation and truly taking part in the premieres, live streams, and the social network of YouTube. So that's, and much in the same way that we would see somebody like Scratchin Pete P.A. do this. There are a lot of creators that do, right? It's just this particular live stream is to focus on the idea of Scratchin Pete P.A. and his watch hours, because we all so much just want to see this creator monetized. We've been it's a long wait for creators to go from 0 to 1,000 subscribers. There's frustrations that come along the way. It's a lot of work. Vern and I were talking about this earlier today. But it's wonderful to know that Scratchin Pete P.A. is so far beyond now the 1,000 subscribers that we talk about, past 1,100, and now watch hours are the only thing standing in the way of the next major milestone. We know we can help, so we want to do that. That's what we're here for.
I also find that having people on, doing a one-on-one like this, I do these weekly, every Sunday if I can, and just having a channel that showcases them and them only. In my style.
Interviews and talk shows and things like that are extremely popular. And you'll find lots of people willing to do it, right? Collaborations are a wonderful way to expand your audience. We've all seen it. We've all seen some kind of a live stream where somebody who's a guest on a channel comes on, and there are people in the chat saying, can you tell me who that is? Can you drop their link? And you know what I mean? And the reason why is because they want to go and connect with them. This is how, as a matter of fact, Michael's Adventures was found by the Tuber Chat family through Vern's Junk Closet. I had been on with her, if I remember the story right, and Michael's Adventures had said, oh, who's that's on with Vern's Junk Closet, and then came over to Tuber Chat, and Michael's Adventures is another shining jewel in our family, another extremely generous creator. It kind of shows, the idea that people of certain mindsets are drawn to each other. And therefore, if all the people who are thinking along these lines of wanting to do for others can find each other, everybody will be just fine. We're going to do better than we ever could have. You know what I mean? Trying to fight it on our own, right?
Absolutely. That's right. That's right. Support is everything. And giving support is everything as well.
Absolutely. Speaking of which, if anybody hasn't already given a thumbs up for this live stream, give Come Hither and Come Hither with Heather a thumbs up. And if you haven't already shared, if you have the ability on a community tab here on YouTube or on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or Reddit, or any other social network, those things really do help. They help more than we can explain while we're here because of the YouTube algorithm. And it could see this live stream pushed out as a video even after we finish here in the coming days and weeks, and might find even more support coming in, both for Come Hither with Heather and for Scratchin Pete P.A., and the purpose that we're here for.
You do that so well. When I grow up, I want to be just like you.
The speeches are from doing it. It's not 400 times. It's from doing it 8 times in the stream 400 times, right? Yeah, some of those things, it starts to... this is why I trip over my words so much, because I talk too fast. And then... but some of the typical things like, Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, and all that stuff is... becomes second nature just from doing it so often. But I think we all improve as well over time, right? If I was to go back and watch the first couple of episodes of my live streams, I'm sure that I'm doing better now than I was. I used to be the worst person on YouTube for reading the chat. Literally, I would spend the whole live stream apologizing for not seeing anything in the chat. Now I do better, but still not great. It's something to improve on. But I think we all do. I think we all end up doing that instinctively, right?
Yes, it's hard to oh, I can't even think of the word now. See, I'm so tired. Multitask that way. Yeah. Sometimes when you're just so involved in getting content and what you need to say out there.
Can be. There, see,
People watching and asking questions.
this gives me another opportunity to speak highly of Scratchin Pete P.A. You know, he catches so many mistakes that I make, right? Not only is he a friend, he's a member of our moderator squad on Tuber Chat, right? And as a moderator, I don't know how he does it, because we all know that he must be on a computer with at least 4 windows going at a time, and still manages to catch all kinds of things. And it's not just simple things. It's not like, oh, Kevin said something that wasn't right and Scratchin Pete P.A. caught it. It's not that. He catches, super chats that I missed that is very important. And then he catches things like members come into the chat, and I do special things for members, and he'll notice if I've forgotten somebody or overlooked somebody and be able to point that out. It is a real godsend to be able to have moderators that you trust, that truly have your back, not just as moderators, but as friends who care to, first of all, not see you fail, not see you make mistakes and things. Not that, making mistakes and, a couple of failures here and there isn't the worst thing in the world, but, they truly have your back and they want you to succeed. They do what they can to help you. And it's basically like having the wind at your back. You know what I mean? People will say wonderful things about me all the time. And I do appreciate that very much. I really do. And yes, I do put my best foot forward. I try. I love what I'm doing. I really do love helping people. So I do appreciate it. But if it wasn't for the help of the people who you see helping me and a lot of people who you don't see, then it wouldn't be as easy as it is, if you want to put it that way. It wouldn't be as effective as it is, and we all wouldn't be doing as well as we are and are going to moving forward if it wasn't for that help, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, that's right. I've had a lot of support over the years, 2 years, I think, that I've been on YouTube. Yes, and if it wasn't for that support, I don't know where I'd be. Yes, and it's also like the feedback that you get from people, the wonderful encouragement as well helps a hell of a lot. If you've got people there encouraging you and helping you give your best and acknowledging that you've given your best and appreciating your efforts, that's
yes,
amazing. And that's one of the when I'm on Tuber Chat or any live stream, in fact, 99.99% of the time when I say my hello, who's the first person that says hello back?
Well, I can tell you this. We use I use a few of the robots, right? Like Nightbot, Stream Elements, Streamlabs, and these are tools that can help anybody with a YouTube channel to run your live stream more effectively, or your premieres even, and help take some pressure off the moderators, right? It's not helpful for me to have the moderators asking people to follow me on Twitter constantly. It's more work that they don't need to do. Nightbot can do that, right? But it actually keeps the statistics as well. And it is not uncommon for Scratchin Pete P.A. to send 150 messages through the chat within a Tuber Chat live stream. If you think about that, within a couple of hours, he's in there all the time, right? And it's not just hellos. You know what I mean? Because it's not like we have 150 people coming through. What I noticed about Scratchin Pete P.A., even considering all that I missed in the chat, is that he's one of these people who seems to be great at retaining memory of conversations and details about people. So, when you see somebody having a conversation, even if it's just text in a chat, you can get an idea of their friendship and level of caring for one another by the things that they remember. Hey, I know you had an appointment the other day. How did that go? Or like, I know you were working on something in your video. How did that end up working out? And it's really cool to see that. And you catch that from Scratchin Pete P.A. constantly. You can see he's got a lot of inside jokes between him and other creators, because you see that in the things that they say to each other in the chat. It's a wonderful thing. So, I'm really excited that, we're going to have hopefully a lot of people now, if they haven't already, running a playlist for Scratchin Pete. Like I said, you can get it done in less than a day. You could do it when you sleep, when you eat, when you work, when you go out, in another device or in another window on a computer, if you're somebody who uses a computer often and things like that. And his playlist, his whole channel, only takes about 14 or 16 hours to run. So, you can set it today, and by this time tomorrow, you're already long finished, and you've helped him as much as he can possibly be helped with watch hours.
Absolutely. Yes, that's amazing. And if you've got 2 channels or
That's true. Yes, with multiple accounts, you can help other people as well as Scratchin Pete P.A by using those extra accounts as well, right? And then as well, there's other things that help. But what we're here for right now is literally talking about watch hours. So if you have the ability to run a playlist of videos for Scratchin Pete P.A, that will be most helpful. If you can, give a thumbs up to as many videos as possible, however many that is. Even if it's just the first and last, that will be helpful. If you happen to be able to watch it or keep it by or something like that, comments really help. Lengthy comments that have to do with the content of the video are very beneficial as well, because that helps the algorithm understand that there's engagement for this creator and to push out his videos so that other people will see them and he'll get more watch hours for that reason. That goes for everybody, but that's an idea for Scratchin Pete P.A today.
Yes, that's what I do when I do live watch hours. I tell people it's going to take me a while because I like to be close by. I may not watch every single video, but I will pop in every now and then to do all that wonderful stuff that people do, like what Kevin said. So like, share, comment. Won't be every time, but it'll be every now and then while I'm either doing housework or watching another video or editing or whatever. I'll just pop back up randomly. And sometimes I even watch a video,
Yeah.
It's really hard to comment if you don't know what the videos are all about. Oh, dearie me.
I get caught. I think people by now probably understand for the most part that I run a lot more videos than I'm able to watch, but I literally go through hundreds a week, right? And this is from running playlists. So I'll make a playlist of videos from creators based on a lot of different ways that I look at that, and then just try to hammer through videos, because the most important thing is support, right? Everybody truly needs it. And watch hours can still benefit creators that are monetized, or at least, maybe not the watch hours as much as running the videos, running the playlist. You're still engaging with the YouTube algorithm, you know what I mean? And everybody still needs that. You're bumping up the averages for average time viewed per video every time you run a video from beginning to end, because the average person is only watching for either a couple of minutes or a couple of seconds or whatever it might be. So when you watch an entire video of 11 or 12 minutes, you're helping that creator, in today's case Scratchin Pete P.A, and the algorithm to understand that people are engaged that long. So there's a lot of benefit to this, more than we're even able to touch on in a simple live stream.
Absolutely. And I get quite disheartened when I see my average watch time. It's like 50 seconds to 3 minutes 49. Oh, God.
But that's everybody. Tuber Chat's live streams are 2.5 hours, and my average retention is 12 minutes. So, yeah, but that's because that's counting people who click on and click right off. You know what I mean? Who never come in at all. It might be surprising to know in Tuber Chat's case, half of the people that click on the thumbnail and title for the first time to come and see Tuber Chat leave right away. Half the people, you know what I mean? So for all that we have, which I'm grateful for, it's interesting to know how many pass. But that's kind of what we want. We want the right people who are going to engage and understand what we're doing. And we're looking for a specific mentality, which is very generous, over the top generous. And we've been lucky to find lots of these creators, right?
Absolutely. And I talk about you a lot in my live streams, as I've said, and talk about, well, as Tuber Chat says. But the reason for that is because I like your transparency. I like the way you present your information, not as gospel, but as how you found it.
Yes, I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, I one of the things that I say often also, Tuber Chat itself, that particular channel was designed in a way that I have to be 100% honest, or the whole thing will fall apart. Because could you imagine if somebody caught, myself, Tuber Chat, in a lie? They would start spreading that everywhere. That guy's full of this and full of that and everything else. So the whole thing would fall apart and there would be no thing anymore. So I don't have a choice. And it was set up that way to display generosity, because I know I can, and it's easy, to be honest with you. And then all we have to do is find more people who will be drawn to that. And we'll find people who are even more generous than I could be. And that's the idea as well. Everybody will be helped, and of course, everybody benefits along the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Scratchin Pete P.A is just a shining example of what we're talking about when we say over the top generosity. Somebody who truly wants to help others, and literally, not. I talked to him outside as well. We've had a few Instagram conversations, this and that, where he will say specifically something along the lines of, well, I know there are people out there who need help more than me, and things like that. Very conscious of the fact that, people are helping, very grateful when it comes, and always looking for another way to go and help more people more, than yesterday, is what it seems anyway. I've gotten to know Scratchin Pete over a long period of time.
And I don't know how he does it.
Chocolate Drop has a question there just about, does it count if you download the playlist? My guess is that it will likely only count one round. So you can't just put a playlist on and watch it over and over and over again, or a video for that matter, because if that was the case, everybody would just make one video, put it on loop, and just wait until they're monetized, right? But it just can't work that way. So YouTube has this system where when you watch a video, they put a red line. It's almost like a progress bar to show that you've watched it. And while I have not used the YouTube system to download videos and watch them in the way that they allow, my bet is that it would still only count for one round towards monetization. Right? It's a very important thing. They have their advertisers and sponsors and everybody else to protect, and they want to make sure they're not paying another cent out than they have to, while at the same time giving value to creators in some kind of an honest way. That's the guess. That's the guess.
Oh, thank you, Miss Southern Belle. Miss Southern Belle, Miss Southern Belle's dropping everyone's link. Thank you very much, Miss Southern Belle. You're amazing. Another wonderful, wonderful creator and supporter. Yes. I was going to go in and do a Tuber Chat thing there, but I thought, no, I'll leave it at that. I don't sound like a second-rate Kevin.
Well, thank you for having me here today for this. I really do appreciate it, because we all very much love Scratchin Pete P.A, and we want to see him excel. I mean, he already excels at what he does. We just want to see him move a little bit farther. We'd love to get him there as quick as we can, because we know that there are great things ahead when Scratchin Pete P.A is monetized.
Yeah, so apart from the links that are being dropped every so often in the chat, I do have links in the description of this live stream. I have Scratchin Pete and Tuber Chat on the front page of my home screen under my featured guests for 2022.
Thank you for that.
So check them out. And links to the playlist in the chat as well. So if you're rewatching this, please feel free to go and check out Scratchin Pete and see what all the hype is about. But it's more than hype. It's actually everything we've said is just like,
it's well-deserved hype.
Well-deserved hype, yes. And I'm actually really thrilled that I can do this for Scratchin Pete. as
It's a
well.
wonderful example of how these, each one of us has our own platform within YouTube, which
Mhm.
is a platform in itself. And we can use this for as much good as anything else, right? There's lots of ways to help. So this is just a small example of what can be done. But the reason why, again, is because Scratchin Pete P.A has done so much for so many other people. I don't know if it's possible for everybody to return the watch hours alone that have been given by Scratchin Pete P.A, because while we're only able to watch one time and give a certain amount of watch hours to each creator, everybody can go out and give much more to many more people. And this is what Scratchin Pete P.A does every day.
For sure, for sure, for sure, definitely. Okay, then. Well, I might wrap that up here. It's nearly half past. I normally try to go for the hour, but I'm tired and running out of things to say. It's Mother's Day today in Australia, so happy birthday.
Happy Mother's Day, yes, to all the mothers out there. Yeah.
We are mothers, stepmothers, acting mothers, aunties. Um, yeah, but I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. Thank you very much, Kevin, for joining me. I
My
really
pleasure.
appreciate support. I appreciate everyone's support in the chat. Feel free to connect with each other in the last few minutes that we have left. Don't forget, scratch and click subscribe, watch the playlist. And if anyone would like to be in my podcast, now I call this a podcast because I do intend on converting all my videos into MP3s and creating an actual podcast platform in the hopes that it works. I don't know if it works. It may or it may not, but I'll
We
just let
never know. Only one way to find out.
That's right. So let's hope it works. So thank you again. Thank you, Kevin. And I shall see everyone, I guess, either in my next live stream video or Tuber Chat. And I hope if you haven't connected with Tuber Chat yet, you soon will. But just be aware the chat goes very quickly. It's actually a little bit daunting. I found Tuber Chat. My first couple of weeks is a bit daunting because the chat went so quickly and it's hard to know what the hell's going on. But thanks to the speeches that Kevin gives, you soon learn quickly what Tuber Chat's all about. And it's just a matter of getting in there and just saying hello to everyone. And let those hellos get you on the wheel. The wheel of doom. The wheel of names. He's actually very good at presenting the people's channels, even the first time they're on. He's very good at. How do you do it? Just pick out, just provide information off the cuff with new channels that you've never seen before.
Well, some of it, if you notice what I do on Tuber Chat, I actually don't talk much about like each specific channel because I don't want to force advice on anybody. The idea is truly, I don't want to tell anybody what they should or shouldn't do. I have my own opinion, but it's not my business. It's their business. What I want to do is talk from a level of experience, but honestly say, hey, this could help, that could help, as opposed to you should do this or you should do that. Because, I'm not, it takes a lifetime to walk, in somebody's shoes and understand why they want to do the things that they do. And even if you and I made channels that were identical, made identical thumbnails, identical titles, and did everything exactly the same, they would end up with different audiences. We never know why. That's like some kind of a weird universe thing. We can't figure that out. So it's, I find it's better just to talk in that way. But I do have enough experience. I was on YouTube before Tuber Chat for a couple of years, and social media has always been my thing. Like, I truly love this stuff, if you want to put it that way. I'm not a fanatic. It's not like, oh my God, Instagram's the best. That's not it. I like what it can do for, let's say, small businesses and things like that when used in the right way or used in a positive way, let's say, right? So just because of that, it allows me to be able to articulate the thoughts in the way that I do. But I appreciate your kind words. The other thing too is, like I said, I've always been like a radio DJ for my entire adult life. So there's 25 years of that helps when it comes to speaking. And then most of the people in my family talk endlessly. This doesn't stop. When I'm done, I'm going to go and talk to Kristen for an hour about YouTube and more of this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I really do love this. It helps when you have a passion for it, you know, and I absolutely do. And it's not just YouTube that I love, it's what it can do for people. A lot of people's lives can be changed with just a small amount of money. And YouTube is one of the only things that I've ever seen where you can actually make money from nothing. Now, while that's almost impossible, most people already have a phone or a computer that can be used, certainly a camera, to be able to start a YouTube channel. You can go from not spending a penny to making a penny on YouTube. And that's what I love, because I know, like I said, how impactful that can be.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All that fluff and stuff asked a question earlier, and I didn't mean to skip over it. I was trying to get the right context there. They said I had mentioned something earlier about YouTube getting harder maybe after monetization. That's not quite what I meant, but the question was kind of what comes after. YouTube does a few extra things. Forgive me, all that fluff and stuff, if I misunderstood what you had said. It's a little bit too far for me to be able to find scrolling back. Oh, here it is. Yes. Like what? I've heard that once you're monetized, YouTube becomes harder with more domains from the creator. I wonder if that's what you meant, or if I'm not understanding. I wonder if there's anything that I could try to clarify. There's, what I often say when it comes to YouTube is there's a lot of milestones along the way, right? We can look at every 100 subscribers, every 1,000 eventually, and beyond. But the reason why Tuber Chat was built, and forgive me for going so much on that channel when we're talking about Scratchin Pete P.A. today, but he's such a big part of our family, and I'm just using that as something to segue into it. But we focus on beginners. And what I mean by that is people who've started their channel and are on their way towards 10,000. Now, hopefully, people who are even farther than 10,000 can still find value, but there are different fish to fry. I'm not going to say bigger or better, just different fish to fry when we get on the other side of the 10,000 subscriber fence, right? When you start aiming towards 100,000, there's other things you need to focus on because you're established. And hopefully that makes sense to everybody. But I wonder if that's what you mean. You meant to say demons. I should have understood all that fluff and stuff, but that makes sense. Yeah. After monetization, there's thoughts that come out, when it comes to soliciting, let's say, memberships and super chats and things like that. It depends on your audience, but since most of us here are already of the mindset of giving much more than we expect to receive, a lot of the things that might be looked at more as, let's say, more difficult, or the darker side of YouTube, or however we want to put that, may not apply in the same way. You know what I mean? We're focused on generosity. The other thing too is, by the time your channel has 1,000 subscribers and gets monetized, you have enough of an audience that if you do something that somebody on the internet doesn't like and they comment about it, you have enough people, they will come and defend. You don't even have to get involved a lot of the time. That's a God. I'm serious. That's a godsend, because the internet is written in ink. We think that we can take back things that we say. When you delete a tweet or delete a comment or something, no. It is on so many servers, I can't even describe to you, and it can all be dug back up. Every single video that you make, even if you delete it. So you have to think about that as an idea when we're talking about how to react to, let's say, the negative sides. But there's a lot of positive that comes, right? Being monetized brings streams of income. That's the big focus on that. And, money can be used for a lot of different things, but of course there's a lot of good that can be done with it. So that's a thought too.
Yes, excellent. Thank you so much, Kevin. I really appreciate you being here again. This is like the second time we've said trying to say goodbye.
I laugh. There's some, so you might laugh actually if you see me, whether on my own channel or on Tuber Chat. I make the fastest exits of
Yeah.
anybody, but that's because I know so many creators and work with them. I got one guy and we joke. As soon as he's ready to wrap up, I say, "Okay, here we go. Let's time it. It's going to be 10 minutes of goodbye," because it's hard to let go, right? You know, you're so appreciative of the people that are watching. You want to say thank you and not forget anything or anybody, and it's easy to get wrapped up in it. I understand.
Absolutely. Okay, no worries. Thank you, everyone. And I shall say good night. Night, Kevin, morning,
Thank
or
you.
whatever time it is in your area. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.